Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Potatochief, and I'm with my good friend Alice. And the console wars are over. It is finally over. Jim Ryan can shut up now. We finally won, Mr. Stark. We won. We won, Mr. Stark. We won. We won. How do you feel, Alice? I mean, it's finally
Yeah.
over. The court case is finally over. Ah.
Well, hi there. I'm Alice, she, they, and I've just been waiting for this moment that this whole victory is all done. So now we got a bulk of it already. So now Microsoft is going to go through, get this deal sorted out, and even hopefully get this deal through. But I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of angles to this, so we'll probably go through for quite a while
Oh, yeah.
before we do the actual podcast tomorrow. But right now, Jim's Ryan reputation is like.
I couldn't hear that, but I could see what you did. For some reason, the Discord didn't pick that up, which is weird. But I know I can see what you're doing.
Like this.
I heard that time. I'm sorry, headphone listeners. Bye, Jim Ryan. Oh man, Jim Ryan he's made himself like a right numpty. But good news. It's really good news for us, the consumer. And you might be like going, well, consolidation of the game industry is good for consumers. I'm like, yes. Like, I mean, in this particular case it is, because Call of Duty is going to be on Nintendo consoles for the first time in like 10 years. So that's great. It's going to be on more cloud services. And it's going to be on Game Pass, and so is all the other Activision, Blizzard, King games are all going to be on Game Pass. So if you're a Game Pass user like us, and you have common sense, and you buy Game Pass, you'll have Call of Duty without having to pay 70 quid.
Yep.
And again. But no, it's good news for the consumer, and I'm very happy. I'm so excited.
I bet in the next few months, the Game Pass catalog is going to be like.
Have you just found this flute or like this thing? You're like, I'm gonna put this in the podcast. It's like, oh yeah, this is funny. I'll just do this.
No, I just thought we could do it like for certain sound effects and put it into this. So, but it's fun instrument, bit of slide whistle. Yup.
I got Coca-Cola sponsored, full sugar. Diabetes. Anyway, yeah, so this is good news I think this is good news for consumers. And the best example I can have is because I'm a wrestling channel, right? I have a wrestling channel, and my other channel is a wrestling channel. This is like where people say, "Oh, it was a good thing that WCW crashed and burned." It's like, no, it wasn't. So for years and years and years, WWF and WCW were competing with each other, and they made the best programming on wrestling television ever. Then WWF bought WCW, and now they were the only wrestling company that anyone watched. And then the show just got shit. They didn't put any effort into it because they didn't have to. They didn't have to compete. And now, after recently, about 4 years ago, a new company rose up out of nothing called All Elite Wrestling. And now WWE have to compete again. And look, the storylines have become good again. Competition breeds good stuff. And I think if you're like a wrestling fan, you'll get that. And if you like sports and all sorts of stuff, competition always makes things better. It's much better to watch I'm a football fan as well. I was like, it's much better to watch something that's competitive for a whole season instead of just watching one team just dominate and win the whole thing without losing a single match. I mean, how boring is that? Competition is great. This brings Xbox almost on par with PlayStation, almost as good as Nintendo when it comes to studio power. It's only a good thing I could see, personally. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think if your analysis of this is just like really good because it just means that, well, it just means that, like if Microsoft is going to have like Call of Duty and Crash Bandicoot, which is quite essentially taking the few PlayStation franchises over, it just means that Sony would be given more pressure to pay more attention to their franchises. Like they're going to have Call of Duty for 10 more years, but now they're just going to have to worry about dealing with SOCOM and even Killzone and even Resistance. Probably just like trying to call the names for the in PS We Trust guys.
Yeah, those guys will be happy to hear about those games coming back. Yeah, which is like competition is good for the business, for the industry. So PlayStation have been a bit unchecked for the last decade or so. Basically, Xbox completely screwed themselves over at the beginning of the Xbox One generation with the Kinect and the always online and all this stuff. They basically turned all their customers away, and they're finally kind of getting back on par with each other, and it'll be good for everyone. I think that's great for consumers. And yeah, I'm very excited to see the future of Xbox now. And I'm going to be playing Call of Duty every year now, and I'm not going to pay for it. Woohoo! I
Yeah.
don't. I didn't want to pay 70 quid for Call of Duty, but I'm willing to play it for free. That's for free. Yeah, you like your flute. Well, I say free. It's actually $1 a month now, which you did put in the news. But we'll be covering that in the podcast on Thursday. But yes,
Ooh.
the £1, the $1 deal is back apparently for Game Pass, which is awesome.
I think we just mentioned it in the last week's podcast, or was it like for this? Oh yeah, it's for this week's podcast. My mistake.
It's this Thursday coming out, which we haven't recorded yet. Basically, we were going to record the podcast tonight on Tuesday night. This is Tuesday night. This is just broken. We were going to record the podcast, but then we thought we were just better off just talking about this FTC stuff that's just broke. And we're going to do the podcast properly tomorrow, which is when we normally record it on a Wednesday anyway. So, yeah, so let's just get through it. Let's just do some analysis. You've made a load of notes, so you've got a summary with a breakdown of it if you want to go through it, and we can discuss.
Yes.
And do you want?
I'm
also
just
want to discuss about our fan mail that we had as well. We had our fan Nick the Wolverine sent us in. Oh, we're going to do that in the podcast.
doing this.
What he thinks can happen.
Right, we're just gonna go through the articles and then we go to the predictions because all of it is very good, and it definitely counts as part of this whole discussion. So,
brilliant.
First of all, we go through the Eurogamer article, and it points out that what's happening right now that Microsoft has won a case against the FTC, and it seems like I'm trying to go through it because I know I made some notes about it. But yeah, it just seems like, there we go. The FTC's defeat today appears to have been sealed by the mobile factors. From one, court documentation shows that FTC could not convince the presiding judge, Jacqueline Scott Corey, of any likelihood, and Microsoft will pull Call of Duty from PlayStation consoles after it bought Xbox. There are no internal documents, mails, or chats contradicting Microsoft's stated intent not to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox consoles. According to the law notes, that they somehow Phil Spencer's been asked repeatedly by FTC, say, is Call of Duty coming to Xbox? Yeah. Is it really coming to Xbox? Yeah. And I think it's just one of the the coming over to PlayStation. Yeah,
PlayStation. Yeah, it's still going to be on PlayStation. I mean, they've signed 10-year contracts. They give it a PlayStation 10-year contract. They've sworn under oath. The head of Xbox and the head of Microsoft both swore under oath that Call of Duty is going to be on PlayStation. I don't know what more they can do to prove that it's going to still be on PlayStation, apart from cut their palms and do a blood oath or something. Seal it as like a kid is if you do not have Call of Duty, you'll be cursed, kind of thing. That's the only thing I can think. They've literally done everything physically possible to prove that they're going to have Call of Duty on PlayStation. I personally still think it's hilarious that PlayStation haven't signed a contract yet, and I feel they should just go win now with an even worse contract. So, we said you could have Call of Duty, but now you're going to have to pay 90% royalties to us, and you're only going to get the shit version. I would love that just because they'd be messing around, so just to serve them right for being stupid and not just signing the contract at the time. But that's just me being petty, but I would find that hilarious.
Yeah, I agree.
Xbox we have changed the deal. Was it Darth Vader says.
Well, I think we will just say we'll definitely get to that part because I think it's something to do with FTC's saying about it. But last week Yeah, so last week's dramatic court case had hinged on whether the FTC could be allowed the injunction to temporarily block a deal, but in reality, it was viewed as a referendum on the deal's overall ability to still be successful. Which then we have Brad Smith coming over to say, after today's court decision in the US, our focus now turns back to the UK. While we ultimately disagree with the CMA's concerns, we are considering how the transaction might be modified in order to address those concerns in a way that is acceptable to the CMA, because CMA has blocked their deal, which makes the UK the only regulation to do that, whereas EU and now the US have now accepted the deal.
Folded. Yeah. And it looks like they've well, I think you've already made notes about this already, but it does look like the CMA are backtracking pretty quick already. It does seem like they've got, oh shit, we're in trouble. Oh, we messed up. Kind of
Yes.
attitude. It does feel like that. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, go ahead. Keep going. Sorry. I just wanted to
that's okay.
mention that.
Phil Spencer has stepped in and speak about it and says, we're grateful to the court for swiftly deciding in our favour. The evidence showed that Activision Blizzard deal is good for the industry, and that FTC's claims about console switching, multi-game subscription services, and cloud don't reflect the realities of the gaming market. Since we first announced this deal, our commitment to bringing more games to more people on more devices has only grown. We signed multiple agreements to make Activision Blizzard's games, Xbox first-party games, and Game Pass all available to more players than they are today. We know that the players around the world have been watching this case closely, and I'm proud of our efforts to expand player access and choice throughout this journey.
I mean, yeah, sounds good to me. I mean, this whole court case is ridiculous. We all know it. They had flimsy excuses, and it's in the even someone like the judge, who's probably not the most informed in the game industry, she can see it's complete rubbish. Like, you can tell it's a completely awful argument. Like, oh, Xbox are going to make it exclusive. Oh, you mean like the hundreds of other games that they haven't made exclusive, like Minecraft and Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76. And it's like, why would they make this exclusive and not them? It doesn't make doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think the judge has done a good thing. She could see that their whole thing was flimsy, and woo.
Yes.
I'm just happy it's done. I'm just glad this is over. Really, it's been dragging on for too long. Oh, thank God, it's over.
It makes you want to do the roast of PlayStation now, huh?
I will. Yes, we will probably do that at some point.
Just don't break a microphone, okay?
Yeah. That's a callback. There's a video we just put up where we reacted to our old videos. I did a roast of the Splatoon fans, and I broke my microphone doing it. And that was like, what, 5-6 years ago? Yeah. Turned out I liked the game Splatoon 2 after I did the roast, so well, joke's on me.
So, now we've got another article, and it says that there's some extra tidbits about this whole I think it was the decision there. And it says, according to the 53-page document, says, after considering the parties' voluminous pre- and post-hearing writing submissions and having held a 5-day eventually hearing, the court denies the notion for preliminary injunction. The FTC has not shown it's likely to succeed on its session. The combined firm will probably pull Call of Duty from Sony PlayStation, or that its ownership of Activision content will substantially lessen the competition of games video game library subscription and cloud gaming markets. Then you have Brad Smith adding that we're grateful to the court in San Francisco for this quick and forward decision and hope other jurisdictions will continue working towards a timely resolution. As we demonstrated consistently throughout this process, we are committed to working creatively and collaboratively to address regulatory concerns.
I mean, it's all good there. I mean, it's pretty much repeating what I just said. So, but yeah, I mean, Brad Smith, good post. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's keep going. I'm trying to. I've lost kind of where you are in the notes at the moment. So I'm trying to find it. So it's
That's
Brad
okay.
Smith. We are grateful. Call of. Yeah, I think I've caught up with you. We're about to hit page 3, right, of our notes.
Yeah. So right now, the Microsoft is now going to focus on dealing with the CMA. What they're going to do is they're going to keep this into the public interest and decide to send out some fresh, propositions just to appeal against this decision. Now that the FTC case has been completed with Microsoft ruled in their favor, so
So
the
yeah,
judge ruled in Microsoft's favor. So I'm gonna bring this one up, which is also from
I
the
mean, we're
yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say, you're talking about the UK, the thing going on with the CMA. I mean, for people who don't realize, this is a British podcast. We are both. I'm Welsh, you're Cornish,
Yes.
and we're like, so we both live in the UK. So this actually really affects us in a bad way, and it's worrying. If for some reason we don't get the Activision games on Game Pass, are you going to be like moving to another country? VPN. I'm gonna be like, oh, I live in Australia now. I was like, how? I was like, I moved.
Yeah.
Just
So
stop by.
well, I think according to the notes there, that I think it will be picked up in the BBC article, which as I made the notes, that it's quite likely that if this appeal case doesn't go through, it's either that the Activision Blizzard would withdraw from the UK, which may possibly mean we may either lose the titles from the cloud subscription service or don't have the games in the Game Pass. So I think it's just, it doesn't have a lot of context, but it's a bit worrying to see like how they're going to approach this or how they would make a compromise. But hopefully the CMA will probably do the U-turn and allow the games to be on Game Pass. But yeah, it's this is what the Bobby Kotick said from the BBC article. Our merger will benefit consumers and workers and enable competition rather than allow entrenched market leaders to continue to dominate our rapidly growing industry.
I don't like to agree with Bobby Kotick, but yeah, it's exactly right. And this is bad for us, the UK residents. It makes us a bad country to like. My dog's decided to wake up, distract me. Hello.
Sit down.
Sit down, lay down. But no, it makes us like almost like a third world, fourth world, country for like technology. It puts us back a couple of years, and it's like I say this every week, but this government in this country is complete fucking joke. I'm sorry. We need someone to get. This is ridiculous. We're gonna completely the whole UK gaming industry is gonna be completely fucked if this happens.
Well,
CMA, get your case together. You need to sort this stuff now.
Well, some of the politicians have actually spoke against the whole decision there, and it's not actually very good. So, which means I think it's the decision that made by a CMA is actually not that popular. But anyway, I think I really, really hate for it to come to the point and it's like, oh, it means we're not going to get any games. But then it's just like, what's the deal goes through and we getting Activision and Game Pass, UK residents are like, oh, there's Call of Duty for free. Let's get at.
You love your flute, Jesus. Call it. I mean, I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan, but if it was on Game Pass, I would play it every year. I've stopped. I used to buy it every year until Black Ops 2, I think, and then I just stopped. But if it was on Game Pass, I would totally play it every year. I mean, I think it's good to bring in new people. I know it's the biggest game franchise in the world, but there are people who've fallen off who will come back because they don't have to pay 70 quid to play it. I think this would be good for customers, good for Activision. I don't see the downside of putting it on Game Pass. I really don't. CMA, get your shit together. Otherwise, I'm leaving. Ski gas, get him.
We can go to Spain.
I'll go visit. I'll go visit my sister in Australia until this is sorted, and I'll just take my Xbox with me and just play. I'll just live in Australia for like a year or so until this is sorted.
Yeah, I guess
I want
that
my free
decision
game.
is down under, really.
Crikey, Governor! I don't know what that voice was. It's a bit of a mix of the both. I'll
Anyway,
point of a ship on
so
it.
back to the pure
Oh,
Xbox article, which people might be dying to know what's happening. So,
dying.
without having to repeat the quote there, while we ultimately disagree with the CMA's concerns, we are considering how the transaction might be modified in order to address those concerns in a way that is acceptable to the CMA. In order to prioritize work on these proposals, Microsoft and Activision have agreed with the CMA that the stay of liquidation in the UK would be in the public interest, and the parties have made a joint submission to the Competition Appeal Tribunals to this effect.
Interesting. But yeah, there's still like. So I think this was probably in your notes, and we'll probably cover it in a minute. But doesn't Activision Xbox need to close this deal within the next week to stop them having to pay another $3 billion fine? So this needs to be done. Well, yeah,
Oh,
it's right there.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's where the
So
$3 billion come in.
yeah, so the point would be that if CMA are like, we're going to stop you or we're going to slow you down, they're not going to stop. They got to do this week. They're not losing $3 billion just to make the CMA happy. You know what I mean? So they're going to close this deal this week, no matter what, I'd imagine. So they might have this deal sorted. Every country in the world's happy, and then we're just going to have to wait around like with a sitting on our hands doing nothing, waiting for the bloody CMA to get this bloody sorted. The CMA is going to make it so we're like the last country to get these benefits. It's going to be really frustrating. I hope they sort it. I really do. I really do. Really hope they sort it. Fingers crossed.
Well, I think the UK is not the only biggest problem that Microsoft has to deal with. Apparently, according to the BBC article, the Federal Trade Commission (FTC) has shown it's not likely to succeed. Yeah, we went through this, but they're now looking to appeal the decision, saying we are disappointed in its outcome given the clear threat this merger poses to open competition in cloud gaming subscription services and consoles. And that's said by Douglas Farrar. In the coming days, we'll be announcing the next step to continue our fight to preserve competition and protect customers.
Whatever. no one cares, FTC. You lost. Get over it. Well, it's just like basically, as I just said, this should be done within the next week. So if they appeal it and they're like, we want you to not buy Activision, it's like, hey, we've already bought them, so sorry. And then they're going to try and convince a court to make Xbox sell or split off Activision once they've already brought them into the fold, which is apparently much harder. So it seems like this is a fool's errand. You've already failed miserably when you had like a chance of winning it, and now you've like, when they're one company, you really think you're going to be able to like just like break it up with your rubbish, flimsy excuse? And like, if I was American, I'd be really annoyed the amount of tax money they've wasted on this. Like, they've done nothing, and they've wasted so much bloody people's tax money on this garbage. Why? Your case was crap. So why are you doing it again? Just let it go. You lost. You lost. Game over. Bye. Go away. No one likes you. No one cares. You're idiots. Go away, FTC. No one likes you.
Yeah.
You're done.
So, to be honest, the case is just pretty much obviously the case with Microsoft winning, because Microsoft was pretty much like prepared for this case, whereas like not only the FTC's like really terrible and how they presented the evidence, but also the Jim Ryan, he pretty much didn't choose his words, and it just seems like as if he made a huge prat of himself.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously we're Xbox fans, But I would, if Jim Ryan was the leader of Xbox, I'd be so embarrassed to have that guy as the. I'm sorry, but I would. Like PlayStation have had some really good people in like the head of PlayStation, like Shuei Yoshida and stuff like that, like up front as their face in the company. Jim Ryan is fucking dumbass. I'm sorry, I don't like him. He's really not put a good impression of PlayStation. He doesn't give a good impression of PlayStation. I'm sorry. If you want PlayStation to come across as like cool and interested and like not pathetic, maybe get someone else in. I'm sorry. I sound like I don't know the guy. Maybe he's a nice guy in real life, but for what he's been saying in these court cases and stuff, he just sounds like a pill. I'm sorry.
Well,
Just,
he's been saying a bunch of stupid things, especially the back catalogue of PlayStation games as too. So I think he's
Are we
pretty
sure
much
he's
like,
not related to Boris Johnson?
well, well, the thing is, he 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 comes from the business side and he doesn't exactly know like a huge deal about games and just acting so competitive as if he tries to make sure he gets it his way without knowing like without being so naive on how he can like be able to effectively win those cases.
I don't get it. He's not. I don't know. I don't think he's the best person to have up front. I think they need to get a new spokesman for PlayStation. They really do. I think he's damaging their brand. Honestly,
Like Paparazzi the rapper.
Sure, why not?
I think the Crash Bandicoot is now going to be given to Microsoft soon, so
yeah, we own it. It's us now. Crash is
Yeah.
ours.
And Spyro.
And Spyro, yeah. And,
take about once a day. It will keep you.
And Tony Hawk belongs to us now. The actual bloke, not the game, the guy Tony Hawk. He now belongs to Xbox. Radical. But yeah, I've got to say it now. You could probably put me off. Oh yeah, but it's like you got Phil Spencer at the top. Everyone likes Phil Spencer. Everyone likes Phil, right? Then Sarah Bond's pretty cool. And Matt Booty's pretty cool. Like the faces of Xbox, they all seem pretty cool people. All you see from PlayStation is Jim Ryan, and all you see is him whining and moaning and crying all the time. Can we get someone cool to be the face of PlayStation, please? Make PlayStation cool again.
Well, it sounds as if you wanted Donald Trump to lead PlayStation.
I was making that joke. No, Donald Trump. No. Yeah, I might regret saying that now. Yeah, but I said, yeah, I was saying Jim Ryan seems like he's related to Boris Johnson. I don't want like a Donald Trump relative taking over PlayStation either.
Anyway, we got one of the readers' list and what we can go through as the predictions for what could come next.
Yes,
but then
one of our good viewers.
But then but it now makes me wonder, like, whether we can like instead we can like summarize what happened with the FTC. And also go through the predictions in the podcast. So, I mean, we're already reaching about 30 minutes, and we've been talking a lot about it in huge detail.
Yeah, so tune in Thursday. We will go into even further detail about this case. We've already covered it in great detail. If you could, as you could probably tell, I'm very happy. This is like winning the Super Bowl or winning the Champions League for me. I'm a big sports fan. This is like a big deal for me. This is up there with my teams winning like really big trophies. This is like a really big deal. I'm really excited. And it's just like, I'm excited for the future of Game Pass as a gamer. The amount of awesome games I'm going to have access to in hopefully the next couple of months is very exciting to me. I'm very excited. How about you? How do you feel? Are you excited? Are you wary? Like, what do you think?
Well, honestly, I would say that once they go through the CMA and get this deal through, that would be really good. But if that's not being done with, then it just probably means we're pretty much like lose out from the deal. So don't exactly think as if it's a complete win. But being able to beat the FTC and get the US approval on this is definitely like a huge progress because you're dealing with one of the superpowers of the world. But then I don't think it like accounts for like the China, Russia, those huge superpowers. But then Saudi Arabia actually approves of this deal. So, but yeah, I'm just really hoping that this deal goes through, get this done out of it. But I think like it could have been nice if they had more time to deal with the CMA, but I think they're just
Yeah,
going to end up having to make compromises to make sure this whole thing works. But apart
fingers
from that,
crossed.
this is really good news, and I'm
Yeah,
pleased that Microsoft gets to win. I knew it was coming that Microsoft's going to win the case against the FTC, and I'm very
we had to.
and I'm pleased that the judges got the right sense when it comes to like going with Microsoft in this, because I think the FTC and the Jim Ryan, how they handled it is kind of makes a huge mess of things, really.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. And also, the best news from this is now this is done, they can focus on buying Sega.
Well, the Sega spokesperson said they're staying with Sega
Oh,
Sammy, so
no, don't! You're breaking my heart. Don't! I want. I want Sega. I want it. Sega and Xbox will end up together. I ship that. It's gonna happen. I believe in true love. They will be together at the end. Anyway, yeah, that was random. Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Are you excited? Are you sad? I can understand people being having negative thoughts about this, but I personally am really excited. I'm really happy about this personally. But what do you guys think? I'm really be interested to hear what you guys think. So let's know in the comments below. Really appreciate it. And I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, goodbye. So long.
take care and too sweet.
Au revoir.
Bye.